everybody, it is Calxiyn and Hunter here, and today we are going to be talking about some Neo things, which should surprise absolutely no one, but it seems like...
talking about Neo?
It seems like a lot of people are confused and possibly regretting the fact that they did not read Roman Holiday. So
Yes.
I would recommend, we have a couple videos summarizing, and by summarizing I mean each one is an hour long.
You can do that if you don't want to read the book, but the book is very good.
Read it. And so I do want to get this out of the way first. Alex is not trivia. We'll talk more about that later. I just want to get that because I got a lot of comments like, oh my god, Alex is Neo's true self. That's trivia, the girl in the book. And I was like, you guys shouldn't theorize about Neo. I'm going to start gatekeeping Neo. If you didn't read the book, don't theorize about Neo.
Don't talk about my baby girl.
First of all, Neo is on the cover of Roman Holiday, so I'm not sure how that happened. And like, okay, here's the other
Baby
thing.
Neo is
I
too.
don't understand how people can't see that Neo's true self being black and Neo whitewashing herself wouldn't be problematic. Like,
Or
that's-
short of that,
you know
well,
what
we
I
know
mean?
she's been white her entire life because we see little girls.
Right. But I'm saying, like, okay,
But, like, the idea
even
that
if it
people
was
want-
possible, like, okay, so I guess to recap, right? We see Neo on the cover of the book as a little girl, as trivia, and she still is white, okay?
Yes.
But did people really not see the issue with this idea that, like, oh, Alex is trivia, and, like, Neo, her chosen identity is one where she has chosen to also bleach her skin. Like, you know what I mean? I got a little heated because I don't understand why people don't see the problem that that would create, right?
That's weird.
I think it's a little strange that that's a conclusion people jump to just because it transitioned from Neo to Alex.
A lot of people have dumb ideas.
There will be
you know?
inevitably some sort of
happens.
connection, but it's not trivia. Also, the other thing is trivia in the book does have the heterochromia still, and so that's also something to note is that Alex does not. And so, like, I guess if you squinted, you could think that maybe, like, that's trivia instead of it being Neo, and this is the fusion between them, but, like,
No matter,
weird.
there's no way. They're not idiots.
I know,
It's just
I hope
people
not.
online are
Anyway,
strange.
so just to get that out of the way, no, Alex is not trivia.
Yeah,
At
or
least we
trivia.
don't think that she's trivia, okay? Unless Neo is like reincarnated Alex or something. Like, people still think that there's some sort of thing going on like that. I think that it's just a literary sort of foil situation. But with that out of the way, let's talk about why Roman Holiday is probably going to be relevant and important. And that is because of this scene and all the shadows behind her. Now,
In the
I saw
opening
some funny things about this too.
Oh, no.
So the reason why I wanted to make this video was because there were some funny little like theories from, again, people that did not read Roman Holiday. Like, that's Ironwood and that's Adam and it's gonna be all the characters who are dead. And no, they're not!
That's the stretch.
I think
is what that is.
I just thought it was so funny that I was like, you can really tell who read Roman Holiday and who did not read Roman Holiday. So that's why we're here, though, to help you, okay? So, let's talk about this. The person in this back area, it seems like it is Roman just based off of the curvature of his hair, right? He doesn't
and you
have
know
his hat.
the curvature
Yeah,
of his
exactly.
hair, like the back of
He
your
doesn't have
hand.
his hat because Neo is wearing it, obviously. And he
yeah.
may be the person that has his arm on the chair given, like, I don't know, this sort of angle.
Yes.
It could also be the mom, but I
seems
choose to
like
believe that it's Roman's hand because he's the one who has her back, and that's also how he is on the book cover. He has the back of the chair. He's the only one that is truly on, like, Neo's side. This seems to be the mom just because we have that, like, whole bun
Caramel.
situation, and then this could be the dad.
Whose name is...
Jimmy. And so we do see them on the cover of the book, and, like, even though they're shadow people right now, their likeness does look very similar. Like, the mom does wear that sort of hairstyle, so I think that is pretty self-explanatory. Now,
Although I think the bun is more pronounced here than it
yeah,
is in
but
the
obviously, like 3D,
cover.
2D, like,
Yeah,
you know, they're
that's fair.
kind of making adjustments, I think. But let's talk about then who all the other characters are, because it's not exactly as clear-cut as I would like, but I would like to bring up some options. So, we have this person back here who has kind of a mad scientist, I would say, hairstyle, and they're wearing something that is pretty vague but could be construed if you squint as a lab coat, kind of has the mad scientist pose. There is a doctor in the book, and I think it's Dr. Marzipan or something. Like, I would have to go back and look at the name exactly, but he prescribes, it's a psychologist that Neo sees, and they say the doctor's like, oh, just give her some time, like, give her some space. Like, it seems like
the good advice.
but we never see that in the book. And that always made me think that there was like cut chapters where Neo did visit the doctor or something that like just didn't get included. And so it could be possible that we do see the doctor in some of the scenes, because the doctor also prescribes Neo's mom drugs for her anxiety, Neo's anxiety. But that's not really what it's for. They use it, I guess, to drug Neo at night so she can't get out of bed. And then they also use it to drug her a couple other times later in the book. That's the other thing I was thinking about this, right? About the teacup situation, is that when you look at this teacup, it's not really Neo's style in any capacity.
Yeah.
And it could be like the teacup of someone from Wonderland, but there's also, I guess, spoilers, a scene at the end of the book where the mom brings out tea for her and Roman and drugs her. And so I wonder if the sugar cube falling in and kind of having that rainbow poison, it's supposed to be a double meaning. Like, it's the caterpillar's drugs because it's the same smoke cloud as a caterpillar, but it is also representative of that scene where the mom drugs them, because I'm assuming it was through the sugar.
Yes.
I don't know. So that could be the doctor, given doctor vibes. There's also Lady Beat, and we don't really know what she looks like. In terms of the girl that's doing this pose, we'll get to that, I think, at the end. The other person that's at the very end of the train, I think that that's actually Lady Beat. They have their arms very proper right here. They're almost wearing something you could think is a headmaster blazer, right? So I think that even though the hair is kind of short compared to how I imagined
Lady
her,
Beat, for those of you who have not read Roman Holiday, is Neo's gay awakening, and the best character in the
kind
book.
of is. She's smart, sexy, and a little dangerous, and she's the headmistress of the boarding school that they send Neo to because she burns down their house. And so on the dad's side, all right, I am going to talk about the girls here separately, so let's just move on to, man, I think that maybe that could be Junior. That one's the one where I'm most not sure about, because, like, also, these could be characters that are part of Roman and Neo's past that were not in the book, that could have happened afterward, right? Like, they don't necessarily need to be from Roman Holiday. It could be some dude that happens later down the line. Who would be important to the dad? Because the way I see this framing, all of the people that are on the mom side are like
people
literally on the mom's side, whereas the people on the dad's side were on the dad's side
via her mother.
Yeah,
To,
or like not even her mother, but just the people her mom was working with versus the dad.
Yes.
And we know that Junior and Junior's dad were both working with Jimmy Vanille, and so this man is giving daddy energy, even though we haven't seen his face to me, right?
Although,
like he has that sort of haircut, right?
I feel like that kind of adds credence to the whole idea of people that died, because he does kind of have a kind of Clover look to him.
Yeah, but stop. So I think in terms of like the dad, like I think that this could be Junior, because Junior was sort of this muscle bodyguard man, like in the book before he inherited his dad's line of work, right? And then the dad is an important character in the book. So that's who I think is on the dad's side. Obviously, like there's some other characters, like there's some police officers that bring Neo home and they ask her if everything's okay at home. That could be, but that could be something, right? Is everything okay at home? And we see Neo kind of like, clearly it's not. Like that could be great narrative storytelling if we just see him very ever so briefly. But as for the two girls, so there are some options here. The Malachite twins are in the book. However, they're not twinning right now. Like, they're not twinning at the moment in terms of how we see them. And they're also not perfectly adjacent from one another. Does that make sense? Like, you have the doctor, instead of them both being equally in terms of, like, the composition, you have the doctor first, and then you have the girl, right? And so if they wanted to do the Malachite twins, I don't know. You would think that maybe they would put the Doctor behind the twins to have them both on parallel because they are the twins. So here's what I think about them. But basically, I think that the girl on the mom side is Neo, right?
Because
Neo,
she has like power
pure
posing.
pink Neo, right? Neo as in the imaginary friend that like is kind of a manifestation of Neo's true wants and desires. It's not an alternative personality. It's just like the super ego in whatever situation. And the one behind the dad,
not super ego.
All of them, all of it. And so then I think the girl behind the dad is actually Trivia. And that's sort of my theory.
To explain that, Neopolitan is seen as like this imaginary friend that Trivia, which is Neo's real name, has in Roman Holiday, and she has all pink hair.
Yeah.
So that's the version of Neopolitan that we're probably going to see.
Yeah, the imaginary friend.
all pink hair best friend.
The reason why it's behind the mom is because Neo's mom does want her to be bad in the sense of like how, I guess, again, spoilers if you haven't read the book, at the sense that like she gets sent to the boarding school for the spies and thinks that Neo has the aptitude to be spy lady
and also,
working for
Lady Beat's spot is where Neo learns to fight.
And and so the mom sent her there knowing that.
Yes.
So I think that the reason why Neo's on the mom side, because both of the parents hate Neo equally. Like, both of them do hate Neo equally, but I think the mom sees more the potential if someone can just hone this other rebellious side of her and put it to good use, right? So that's why Neo's on that side, whereas the dad does not value that part of Neo at all. He only wants well-behaved Trivia, and you can see that her hands are clasped in front of her, right? Kind of a more subservient, like, I'm sort of I'm sorry sort of pose. The only thing I'm struggling with in terms of that is that it doesn't seem like that shadow person has braids, because there is this like sort of pop that looks like a ponytail right here that is sort of confusing me, but it could also be because her dad's arm is in the way and it's sort of obstructing. So why do we think that this is going to be relevant in terms of the story? That's a good question, because some people do think that everyone here is one of Neo's imaginary puppets and they are serving her. I think it's a very literal interpretation, though. Like, some people think that we're literally going to stumble on Neo having a tea party, and it's going to be her mom and dad that are serving her at the tea party, right? And like, okay, but that's a very, again, that's very literal.
Her being the Mad Hatter makes a certain amount of sense.
Oh, no, I think that, but like the idea that like all of the illusions are literally her servants, that's a very literal interpretation, I think, of what we're seeing here. And maybe more that Neo's behavior this volume is colored by all of the people of the past, and that we are going to see we are going to get Neo's backstory like we got Cinder's backstory.
But they're not going to manifest in real life. They're just going to be visions, you believe?
Well, I think that we're going to get a flashback, like Cinder's flashback, in a sense. Like, that's personally what I think. I mean, we could get hallucinations as well. Like, I'm not totally against the idea that Neo has, made her parents but she hates her parents so much, it's sort of weird. Like, you know what I mean? Like, for her to bother creating them. Roman, I understand being an hallucination, but if it's of her own free will, it's weird.
Yeah, I don't think it would be of her own free will. I think it'll sort of be placed on her.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, if it's through the caterpillar thing, like, yeah, okay, like, I could see that. But, like, Neo choosing to make Junior and Junior's dad, that's just sort of random, I feel, right? So I think that this is supposed to be more representative of, like, the literal shadows of Neo's past, and that we are going to see how the shadows affect her in present day, versus, like, we literally see Neo and her dad is the one that's pouring her the tea. Like, because I guess you could do that, right, as an introduction to a flashback sequence, but I think that it's less impactful if Neo's literally being waited upon by them, and more that like they are clearly something that still affects her to this current moment, and why she's still seeking revenge, and why she has turned out the way she is.
It's more like she's being haunted. Control over
and so I think that being haunted is better. It's better to be haunted.
Hell of a sentence.
Yeah, and I don't even think that like we'll see all of them at once. But I don't think, first of all, it's not all the dead people. I don't think it's as literal as people are saying. And I think it's just supposed to allude to the fact, like, Neo is literally in the spotlight this volume, but these are the shadows that, like, are cast by her. All of the people that, you know, changed her life, be it good or bad. And Roman is the only one who ever had her back. And that's going to be showcased this volume. As I think, not necessarily a point of sympathy, but kind of like Cinder's backstory, right? But better. It'll be better, right?
I think there's a distinct possibility, like, those people aren't Roman holiday characters, and they are just, like...
But they're not Ironwood, right?
Yeah, probably not.
Like, I don't know. I feel like
I think it's a possibility. I don't think it's likely to occur,
They knew what they were doing, though, Hunter. That's the thing I always think about. Putting a Roman-like character back there, and then for us not to see Roman.
Unless it's not Roman, it's Bimmy, everyone's favorite character from the RWBY Extended Universe
They knew
novels.
that people would jump to conclusions, and so if they wanted to do dead people, they could have made it a little bit more obvious.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because if this is Ironwood, I'm gonna have some questions, basically. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and like that's supposed to be summer, and like these are all supposed to be dead people.
Maybe after they're revealed, I wonder if they'll change the,
I would love that. I don't think that they did that, though. Like, remember when Cinder in the Volume 6 OP was, like, hooded? I don't think that they ever changed it, but I think because these are just flat images or, like, placed models, it may be easier. I would love, like, when we see Roman in, like, a cliffhanger for, like, I don't know, like, mid-season cliffhanger, it'll just be Roman. And then when we see, like, the mom
they
and
all
dad,
look like, because they all already look like
dad,
unlocked characters.
Yeah. We'll just slowly, as soon as we see them, it'll change in the OP. I think that'd be cute, but I don't know about that, because they didn't do that in the past when Cinder's identity was revealed to be that person. But yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed. Thank you for attending Calxiyn's Royal Court. Please stop saying that Adam's in here. I don't think he is. And I hope that you guys had fun, and we'll see you later. Bye!